Kal Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakakodash. What you see on the screen is a definition for the word spirit. So on this drive home, I'm gonna be talking about what happened today at work. It was a little conversation, but it was a good one. You know how 99.9% of the time you're at work and everybody's just being a demon. They don't really have anything smart to say, or they just talking about some wicked stuff. But today, my supervisor and another co-worker, we started, I don't know how the conversation started. Oh yeah, it started off with, somebody always mentions something. And they mentioned something about the Bible. And then I said, well, just listen to this explanation, because, and I said I was the master of the Bible, but compared to those people, I am the master of the Bible. So I was telling them a little correction. I didn't drop the names. So once you drop the names, it turns into something else. But this time, it didn't turn into anything. Everybody agreed with me, and it all has to do with the experience these people went through. So this lady was talking about how she feels about sleep paralysis, that sometimes it's a spirit sitting on her chest, and I said that's exactly what happens. So then more conversation started breaking out, and then my boss mentioned that his nephew sold his soul to the devil. So I didn't say that, oh yeah, that's how it started. Conversation started with that lady saying, there has to be equal power. So there's God and there has to be Satan. And I told her, well, there is a Satan, but he's not equal, and he does what he's told. And I even went to say, yeah, he works for the Lord. So I had to drop the name Jesus as a diffuser, because one, I'm not at camp. Two, I'm at work and I have to protect my work, right? So I used the name JC, which we know that's not his name. So then that's how it started. And then my boss mentioned that his nephew sold his soul, and then the conversation kept going, and then what prompted that, him telling me about his nephew, was me explaining that it's the Father and the Son, and really it's the Son doing everything, because the Father gave him power. So when Satan does something, it's because it was ordained, right? So then he was like, and every time I say something, like somebody says something else, like somebody usually disagrees with me, except for this event. I call it an event every time something like this happens. So this time it was very pleasant, and then the unexpected happened. They agreed with me. So then he was explaining how his nephew did all this. He was into fighting MMA and all that shit, and breakdancing and who knows what. He was basically into showing Showtime, or like he wanted to be famous. And then he has a Beamer and all kinds of worldly stuff. He has all kinds of worldly possessions. So that was a good conversation. That was a holy conversation. And then we talked, and then he said that he went to the Seventh-day Adventist church, and he was talking about God to his nephew, because he called him out to the table and just sat at the table and wanted to talk to him. And that's when his nephew, like, told him before that he went online and looked up how to sell his soul to Satan. So he looked up how to do it, and he did it, and now he's getting paid. Like we say, getting paid in the shade. So now he's making that money in that way. So he's getting he's got what he asked for. So, there is balance, but there's not an equal power. There's a balance. Okay? And all the weight is on the right side. Even though the left side has power to do stuff, it's really ordained by the right hand. So that was basically a good conversation. And that was about in the workplace. So not to mention when a younger brother because we have a brother that just came in, and then my son who just turned 15. So I decided to take him out to the camp, and he's part of the camp now. Lord willing, both those brothers stay in the camp. So the young brother, he had his name Abba-Yabar. And I really don't like that name, because Abba is father, right? The first part is father. Father, he, Bar. So I had a hard time with that name. But he is faithful, and then he slipped up. He told me that he slipped up, and I said, you know what? Don't do it again. Rebuked him, gave him some scriptures, and then I so-called christened him. I anointed him into the truth, and I gave him a name. So I named him Caleb, because he's faithful, and he's just like a dog, right? He's faithful. So that's a good thing. And then yesterday, there's this lady. She always says some stuff, and it riles me up. Usually I let her slide. I give her a free pass, except for this time. She came in the office talking about some bullshit. She's like, you know what I hate? When people go hunt and kill like elephants, and I said, you know what? That's their right, because the Lord told us that the world was given to the hands of the wicked. And really what prompted me to say that is I'm a rooster man. I raised American game fowl. I love that sport. But this wicked government is taking that away from me. So that kind of irritated me. And I told her, you know what? As soon as you take away the right to hunt, you're going to have you won't be able to have dogs or pets. But you couldn't see that. Why? Because she's an idiot, for one. Because the Lord blinded the rest, right? He blinded some people. And all I was trying to say is, the only way you can get people to stop hunting animals like that is if you give animals rights. And once you give animals rights, all the fucking animals have rights. Okay, so that's just wicked bullshit. And then so-called Valentine's Day, these women at work were just getting on my damn nerves. They're like, what are you going to do for your woman, for your wife? How are you going to make her feel special, this and that? And it wasn't the first time they asked. It was like three times. So by the third time I got irritated. I was like, I ain't going to get her anything. Sort of got mad and stuff. But my point is that the spirit is always working, and there's many like spirits hop on people, like demons hop on people. That's why they say this shit they say. I took it as a test, and whether you pass or fail a test, even failing the test is accomplishing your task. You're doing good, right? And that's hard to understand. How the hell can you fail a test, and by failing you pass the test? Well, you were supposed to fail. The test itself was to see how you handle failure. Oh shit! You're trying to sound in all deep and shit. But I'm not saying any of these things. How about Shimi Hawashai's put in the spirit on me to say these things. You know, I'm growing. I'm growing in the truth. So I arrived at my destination. I want to wish all the brotherhood blessings. I want to put blessings on the brotherhood and good health to all the Akim. Shalom.